Yes. Right, let's make a start then. Cloud Foundation Technical Oversight Committee for what is it? The 13th of June. Agenda for today then, well, we have no actions from last week because we adjourned last week. So we'll just hear from the Vulnerability Management Working Group, which is a surprising mouthful, any PRs and any other business. I've added one PR in, as always. Any others, add them in. Any other agenda items, added in. Otherwise, Paul, floor is yours.
Hey folks, good to see you again. My name is Paul Warren. For those of you who haven't met me before, I'm the working group lead for the Cloud Foundry Security Vulnerability Working Group. Update-wise, we have been quite busy recently, actually, on the vulnerability front. We've been managing, at the high point, we were managing about 8 vulnerabilities, active vulnerabilities. That's ticked down again now, so we're down to about 4 active vulnerabilities currently. So it's been a little bit more of a busy time. 8 is quite a lot for us to manage. It's not a lot for us to manage, but it's a lot for Cloud Foundry to have active at one time. So I don't think there was anything that particularly caused the uptick, honestly. But anyway, we seem to be through that, and we're back down to about 4 active vulnerabilities at the moment. We will continue to manage those through the resolution. On the Ubuntu security notices side, we continue to publish those on roughly a monthly cadence. So hopefully you all should see those coming through on the #security channel. We haven't had any issues with the publication of those. That's all been running very smoothly. And we continue to work with Davos team, who are it's that proprietary, the VMware proprietary system that we use to manage the Ubuntu security notices. We continue to work with those guys to try and make updates to the system. So, for example, we don't think we should be publishing any information about Xenial anymore, because that's way out of support. But if you download the Cloud Foundry notice from Davos, it will occasionally reference Xenial in there, and we have to kind of go and manually mark that up before we publish it. So we're working with them on a couple of issues like that to try and make that process a little bit easier. But generally speaking, that's all running pretty smoothly. We tracked the CF Linux 4 through from experimental into the main system. Saw you all did a post on CF Dev about that. We'll probably follow that up with a post on the security blog as well. Just to reinforce the point that that's out there now, and by default the apps are running on Jammy. And that's about it from that perspective. I do have one other issue, but I'll stop there in case anyone's got any questions about our general run-of-the-mill stuff. Nope. Okay, so the other issue that I wanted to talk to you folks about was the fact that we have become aware of, there's a couple of issues actually, we've become aware of a vulnerability in Concourse. And it's specifically to do with the, and then the last so that's issue is so I'll send that out to you. I'll share that document with you folks, and then you can disseminate it as you fit. The last issue that I wanted to raise here was like I said, we've had about 8 active issues that we've been managing. We've been actively managing. There's been a few instances, 2 or 3, I think, where details of that vulnerability have been leaked out in commit messages, release notes on the the release that had to fix in before we've had time to, run that vulnerability through its embargo. Well, typically we don't use embargoes, but before we've had time to release that vulnerability. So again, we probably want to kind of remind the team that if they've been included in a sec-dash channel and they're actively managing a vulnerability, they want to be very careful about what they're publishing publicly about that, and just kind of obfuscate it to some extent until we've reported until we've finished managing the vulnerability and it's been reported to MITRE. And at that point, then obviously you can talk about it publicly, but you have to be careful with the information up till that, at that point, unlike me, who just blurt stuff out on a public channel. So yeah, so that was the last issue that I wanted to mention.
Yeah, like with regards to that, like I've been involved in a few of those, but like what I've seen in the past is that these things then start, for example, internally in VMware, right? And then like the teams are aware of the things, and then it's, oh yeah, we also need to manage the process on the foundation side, right? And then that gets started up a bit later while the fix is already in place sometimes, right? So there's like a bit like, I've often seen that the sec channels in Cloud Foundry are created like I don't know, a bit too late, basically, right? So the people that are actually involved in fixing it aren't the ones that are in those channels. So like, yeah, it would be nice if we can have like a faster process, or like a better process to actually get those channels in place and actually have the collaboration happen in those channels instead of just the coordination after the fact around like the exploit or the disclosure, right? Like it feels like it's mainly there for managing the disclosure at this point, and not so much about like doing the actual fix.
Yeah, I mean, we do try. Yeah, I hear you there. We deliberately try and keep the two very separate. And the way that the foundation works here is, from a security vulnerability standpoint, is that we will not, look at an issue until it is officially reported to security@cloudfoundry.org. So I would encourage everyone to, which is also listed in the security MDs that are in all of the repos. So hopefully everyone is aware of those. So as if you if you even suspect an issue, I would encourage everyone to report it to security@cloudfoundry.org, because that kicks off the process. But then to your point, Ruben, there are sometimes issues that are discovered in one of the distributions. So in this case, you were mentioning TAS, and as soon as I become aware of those, I will try and actively encourage them to report that issue to security@cloudfoundry.org, because I'll have a look at it and I'll say, I think that's a core Cloud Foundry issue, not up in the distribution. So please report it as soon as possible, because we need to run our process. So thank you for the reminder. I will try and jump on those as soon as I can, moving forwards, to try and get them into our system earlier. But there are limits to what I can do there, because sometimes I don't become aware of them, right? But as soon as I do, I will definitely nudge people to get that process running.
Arsalan is asking in the chat if this is how the vulnerability we were talking about earlier was disclosed.
If this is how it's discovered.
Disclosed.
I'm unaware of how that vulnerability was discovered. But again, I knew, I did see it on that side, and that's why I'm bringing it to you, now, because I know that it most likely affects the CF.
Okay, so the question was how was it disclosed, not discovered?
Not disclosed. I'm unaware of that being disclosed anywhere at this time.
Okay. Any more questions from anyone? No? Is there anything you need our help with, Paul?
Only the dissemination of that information to your teams. So both pieces moving forward. If you could just give them a quick nudge on being a little bit careful about what information they're putting in commit messages and release notes, that'd be great. Only when it's mentioned, and only when it's part of a secondary channel.
Sure. All right, well, thank you very much for your time, Paul. We move on then to PRs. Up first, we have or should we do 622 first, just in case? It's a nice, easy one. Just adding new repos. We all happy with that?
Yep.
Let's get some approvals on that really quick. So that's 622, by the way.
Yeah, I think it uses a special process because there is no way yet to grant admin access to a area. Maybe we can pick up this. I think there's a bug about it and talk about possible solutions for the future if it's a. But yep, it talks about C of Linux FS4, so I'm in favor of getting this one merged.
Yes, same. Right, that's a majority. Final check for any objections. Can't imagine there will be.
I was just lagging behind. I found the document, found the link. Approved.
There we go. That's everyone. Merged and merged. Right then. 591 then. So this is the Paketo build backs one. Greg has been through and made the changes that we talked about 2 weeks ago now. And I think we sort of agreed at that last point 2 weeks ago that in the next TOC meeting we'd start the final comment period. Does anybody have any objections to doing that?
That's something we have to start because I saw that Greg already started. He said, I propose we move this RFC into the final comment period. Like he did that a week ago. I don't know if that counts.
I'm not sure either. I
think
we need to set a date for it.
Yeah, I think we there needs to be consensus with the TOC for anything cross-cutting and the RFC author about starting the period.
Yeah. So the RFC author has already motioned to do it. So in that case, does anybody on the TOC have any objection to starting it?
No, good.
Would we be okay with normally we do a week comment period? Do we want 1 or 2 weeks on this given the size of it?
We could maybe do 2 weeks. Also, because there's the Cloud Foundry Day next week. I know some people are traveling, especially folks in Europe. I know I'm traveling for it.
Probably ends up having to be 2 weeks then. Anyway, even if we set it for next week, we might not have quorum next week anyway.
That's true. Yeah, I mean we could do it async, but we'll also have some new TOC members coming in.
That's true. Okay, I'll stick final comment period. To end on what's that? 2 weeks from today.
Be the 27th of June.
Correct. Right, that's done and done. Let's tick that off. Wherever the notes have gone, there they are. Okay. Any other PRs that people wanted to address?
I saw an issue in the CF deployment repository about a new feature which was proposed by Amelia regarding readiness probe. It looks to me like it is more fits more to an RFC. I already commented into that. If you have any opinion on that?
First time I've seen this. This is maybe
it touches multiple working groups or 2 working groups. Runtime interfaces and application runtime.
I think it's a good idea to treat it as an RFC. Most of the RFC so far were more process-like and how the community works besides the RFC 001, which was the stack, the new. So I would welcome more technical cross-cutting concerns in RFCs.
Yeah.
Because CF deployment is also not the correct repository for discussing this. It was tried before with what was it, the to get the TCP traces integrated, because that's also something that cuts CLI and Kapi and Diego, and it did not turn out to be a good home for such discussions.
I think we had also the CF Linux FS4 compatibility release discussion first there.
Yeah, it's let's move it into an RFC.
Yeah, asked Amelia. I just wanted to make you aware of that. Yeah.
I'll stick it on the actions for us next time, just to follow up and see if we got an RFC for that.
Yeah.
There's one PR where to my surprise, another working group wants to try out the branch protection. I mean, there's no urgency. I would wait until Amelia approves it from working group point of view, but then I guess we can go forward. Technically, it looks okay. And I had also a chat with, don't know who it's called, Georg Franks. Jeff. Okay. So yeah, goes in the right direction.
Sounds all right. Any others? No? All right. We'll move on to any other business then. So next week's meeting then, obviously. I guess who will just not be here?
I know I'll be traveling then. I probably wouldn't be able to attend if it's on the 20th. And then the 21st is Cloud Foundry Day.
I will also be traveling.
Yep.
I thought Chris had some ideas about kind of presenting the election results and the new TOC at Cloud Foundry Day. But he's not here right now.
This will be a part of the opening, presentation, which we will have with Stephan Clements, and Stephan Clements.
Okay, so it sounds like then we can probably go ahead next week. We'll be
Beyhan, one question. There's a parallel meeting planned with the colleagues from Sofia that arrive also for the Cloud Foundry Day at that time. Question is.
Yeah. I was thinking if the meeting is happening, I can join later than the other one. But,
yeah, it's possible. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can try and keep it brief next week anyway, if we need to. Okay, so we won't cancel next week's for now. Just shout if plans change. Other than that, any other business? No? All right. Well, thank you for your time, everyone. Same time, same place next week.
Okay.
Have a good one.
bye-bye.